Good.
Ellie's pretty. That's pretty.
You could just say your name and your network and take it away. Thank you.
What made you choose this Philip Reeves book to be adapted?
Well, I read them. I mean, there's 4 books of the series. You know, Mortal Engines is the first of 4, and I read all 4 just as a fan, really, in about 2007, 2008, and I just thought they would make fantastic films. I mean, I know that sounds like a stupidly simple answer, but it's actually the truth. You just, you read these books and you think, wow, these films, I want to see these films. So the next logical step is, if you want to see the movies, go make them yourself.
Mankind mobilized. A new age arose. The age of the great predator cities. Survival of the fastest.
The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit stories took a lot of years of your life.
Yeah.
Was it hard to move on and write about an entirely different universe?
No, no, we were.
It was a relief, is what you call it.
Yeah.
Relief.
It was good. I mean,
it was fun. It was,
we passionately love those, the time that you spent, and yeah, it was a lot of years of our lives, but absolutely. And what attracted me particularly to these books, Pete gave me them to read, and what attracted me was the originality of the storytelling, the originality of the idea. I thought, oh God, I want to see this as a movie, and I want to see it because I know it's going to be like nothing else out there that you've ever seen before. And so it was like, yes, please, let's do it.
And it was sort of interesting because Tolkien imagined his stories to be in our world about 7,000 years ago. That's what he said. He said, before the Egyptians and the ancient Greeks, there was his world of the elves and the
prehistory of the
It was like it was a time that's been forgotten. And so this time around, we get to go forward 3,500 years. So instead of going back there, we go forward. So it was actually it was fun to go into a whole new way of thinking.
It's an interesting thing because you say that we go 3,000 years forward, but it's not. As a genre, it's an interesting film. It fits across a lot of different things because it's not sci-fi. It's not like 3,000 years and we've all got spaceships or cars. It's its own unique vision of what happens.
It's a vision of our future.
Of our future that could happen.
And probably will happen.
It could well happen.
Probably, yeah.
He's here.
You were going to direct this film, right? What changed that?
Originally, yeah. Well, it was. I was going to direct it for a while back in 2008, and we did a little bit of pre-production, very early pre-productions and previs and various things. But then the Warner Brothers called and said that they had got the rights to The Hobbit, which they had trouble getting the rights to The Hobbit, and I didn't really think that was ever going to happen, and I was intended to do Mortal Engines, but when that phone call happened, everything kind of changed, and we had 5.5 years on The Hobbit. And Christian Rivers is a director that he's someone that's worked with us for over 25 years. I mean, he came into school when he was 17 and did storyboards for me on Brain Dead back in 1992 or 3 or something, and he's pretty much storyboarded just about everything I've done. He won an Academy Award for effects work on King Kong. And then importantly on The Hobbit, which we were making for 5.5 years, he became one of the second unit directors on The Hobbit. I mean, the barrel scene where the dwarves go down the river in the barrels in the second Hobbit movie, he pretty much shot that entire scene, amongst other scenes. And so coming out of The Hobbit, and obviously, Mortal Engines now, it was on the shelf for 5.5 years, but now it was certainly a film that we wanted to make. I kind of just felt that Christian had, he'd proven himself as a great filmmaker. His second unit stuff was fantastic, and I just thought, we really should help him get his career going, a feature film. So it was really, it wasn't a hard decision to make, really. And I got to sleep in the morning. I didn't have to go on set at 5:30 or whatever bloody time it is. I got to lie in, which actually was a little bit of icing on the cake after 5.5 years of Hobbit movies. So it was all good.
What is that? That is London.
Besides these gigantic moving cities, what would you say Mortal Engines is about?
Oh, it's about a number of things, but in the end I think it's particularly in this story, it's the intersection of two characters meeting in the most unlikely of circumstances and having to survive this in this incredibly harsh environment, because they basically, I'm trying not to do too much of a spoilers, but I know some of it's been shown in the trailers. They end up basically having been tossed off of the city. They're now on the bare earth, and they're needing to survive. And what they uncover at the heart of it, as part of one of the themes of the story, is something is going on, something very dangerous that could lead to the destruction of a whole other settlement, and whether they can stop that or not becomes the question of the film.
Okay, so I think it's my time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
But she is something quite different. She is beautiful and strange and very, very rare.